Chris Salvador back with The Fank, Free and Never Combed. So, wanted to finally give a review on Southland Tales, which I finally was able to see, and I wanted to see it in theaters, but obviously because everyone says it was one of the worst atrocities ever committed to celluloid, it was so terrible, and how could this so bullshit, that they never released it wide. So I finally got to see it, and I just want to give my review. This movie is an interesting failure, but I'll take an interesting failure over a useless failure any day. I'll take a movie like this over something like Meet the Spartans, or something like Spanglish, or something, nothing against the actors in Spanglish, but just those kind of, I'll take studios doing more of this than just star vehicles and things like that. And I think I started watching it, and I didn't read the graphic novels that Kevin Smith Richard Kelly put out. I think to understand this movie is to, I'm going to be getting into spoilers now. So, from this point on, don't listen, because I don't know how to talk without spoilers, because I really want to get into depth, and by the time you watch this, or hopefully whatever. So here we go. To me, I think this film he was writing it after Donnie Darko, 2001, 9/11 had happened, and it takes place in 2008, and it's weird watching the movie in 2008 knowing that, like, okay, well, he's setting this movie 5 months from now, and there's just no possible way that there's going to be mega zeppelins and things like that in 6 months. There's not even iPhones in this, and that's nothing against him. Obviously he was writing this before. It was just his, the only way to predict the future is to invent it, so he's trying to invent some stuff here. And I think a lot of the, like I said, I think this was a guy who, like you said, he was, when you're writing something, whether it's Darren Aronofsky with The Fountain and you're listening to, Space Odyssey or whatever, the Space Odyssey, David Bowie and all that, Ground Control, the Major Tom, and you as a writer or whatever, as a creator, you're just trying to pull from whatever. Like, oh, I heard that song, Memory Gospel or Wave of Mutilation, and you hear things and you want to find a way to visualize and put them on screen and make a story out of it. And I think that, with this is very ambitious, and he really tries to do a lot of things. And I think one of the things he really wanted to go for was, every time travel movie always kind of discusses is the idea of, what if your past self and your future self meet? And that's basically what this whole movie builds up to, is past self of the Seann William Scott character and future self of the Seann William Scott touch and meet, and then that supposedly ends the world, either by destroying it or creating a new messiah or however it was supposed to end. And I think that, but there's so much going on before you get to that. And I had known, because I read spoilers before. Somebody had released a spoiler review on that, and I read it and I spoiled myself. So I was like, there's a lot going on before you get to that handshake, and that it's not even like a Sixth Sense kind of, oh shit, didn't see it coming. But it's kind of like, even when it happens, it's still confusing, because they're in an ice cream truck and it lifts, and then there's the kid from Thumbsuckers on top of it and there's all this crazy shit that you're like, I understood where, like, I loved when you would put the little chapter marks, and I liked the way this was filmed. It's very blue. It has that smoke kind of, it's very unique, different film, and I applaud it for being that. I like that. I think The Rock was really good in this. I think a lot of the problem was that I think you did need to have, when you do something like this, I take two roads with this, where there's the road that he could have gone was that Southland Tales is kind of like, this is perfect to show why The Last Man, which is a comic that I love, should not be made into one movie. Is that this Southland Tales feels like either it would have worked better as multiple movies, or it would have worked better. It would have worked better like Lost, or like Alias, or like someone making this into a television show on FX or something. Like this would have worked better on HBO or something. Like Southland Tales might have probably made a better graphic novel, or like a multiple, because there's so much going on. Everybody's, it's easy to explain this or not easy to explain this in a sentence. And I think that a lot of it is just like, I mean, it follows. There's 3 parts to it that are in a comic, but these parts 4, 5, and 6 are basically what you have is you have this actor Boxer Santeros, played by The Rock, and he's wakes up on I think Venice Beach or Hermosa Beach, wherever the hell it is. He wakes up, and then Justin Timberlake's character is a soldier who, after what happened was in 2005, which, as we know, didn't he sets it in a time where a nuclear bomb goes off in Texas, and then that leads to U.S. ident, which is basically 1984. And why the hell is my lighting going away? I'm going to put a light on, not like this. But 1984, so it's 1984 happens, and then they basically take control of the internet, they take control over everything, and I think that makes sense, but I don't think it does, because one of the things, basically, like I said, so you have a sniper character played by Justin Timberlake who's Pilot Albaline, and basically he was in a friendly fire situation with the Sean William Scott character, which is so weird how they all connecting, like, okay, this cop is a soldier, and then, like, I didn't really believe too much of that. I just felt that was just a deus ex machina. Sean William Scott had traveled back in time with Boxer Santeros, and he was also friends with Pilot Albaline, and it just, that felt like, come on, you're just throwing too many things together. But Pilot Albaline narrates. Justin Timberlake, I think he's really great. His voice is just this really cool, dark Justin Timberlake doing it. And he's a sniper, kind of, in the this new war is being funded against, I guess, Syria, North Korea, Afghanistan, and Iran and Iraq and all those places. And basically, that all is cool, and you see that the television is very, Apple TV, podcasty interface where, it's like Stick'em, it's like the internet, it's very free, there's lots of things to choose from. You can see 4 screens, 5, you can see a lot of information put into people, and that's fine. But I think a lot of the problem is that, like I said, this movie is about, there's too much story, and then there's only, after 2 hours, I remember when I was watching it, I would click my player and see, man, I still got an hour left, or I still got an hour, and I felt like that was a bad thing, where you're like, damn, there's still time left, and you're not. It's not that you're not interested in the characters; it's just that you feel like there's just too many of them that you felt like, let me explain in a better, quicker way what the difference between doing Southland Tales this way and another way. Let's say Southland Tales had been this. Southland Tales starts, nuclear attack in Texas, and then you have our Pilot Albaline character with Ronald Tavener, and Ronald Tavener and Pilot Albaline are in Fallujah, and we're there with them, and all of a sudden, friendly fire happens, Ronald accidentally fucks up Pilot Albaline, and he gets scarred and fucked up, and now we're back, and it's 2008, and you've got our narrator, who was already Justin Timberlake, and basically he's a sniper at the outskirts of the beach. He's taking this drug, fluid karma, whatever, and then all of a sudden, he's confronted by the government to say, have you seen Ronald Tavener? And it's kind of like, no, why the fuck would I see him? That fucker, So suddenly, if you had taken that route of just, let's focus on one character at a time, and you had just focused on Pilot Albaline, and made it a little bit more like Children of Men, where I love Children of Men because it focuses on just Theo's character, and there's all this stuff going on, but you're with Theo, that the whole storyline, if you just put it down to just, okay, you have Pilot Albaline, and he's a sniper, and then you set the whole movie up, which is what the whole movie is set up to an ending anyway, which is world's gonna end because past self, future self are gonna meet. Then you have, well, how do they meet if you have a sniper character, which you've already established, Pilot Albaline, and he wants to kill him because he fucked him up with a friendly fire, that you would establish that maybe the government was trying to get Pilot Albaline to kill Ronald Tavener, either past or future self, one of the selves, to kill him